The managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, said that global growth will bottom out this year. While speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, she affirmed the IMF's forecast for global growth rate this year to slow down to 2.7% from around 3.2% last year.
It is true in our economic projections. We expect growth to further decelerate this year, but since in the beginning of the year we do seek some good news, here it is for you. We also expect in 2023 growth to bottom out. In other words, to start a process in which we go up rather than down.
The IMF chief highlighted three significant challenges confronting the world: the war in Ukraine, high interest rates and the cost of living crisis. She warned the world that if global tensions are allowed to fragment the world economy, it could cost trillions in lost growth.
COVID and the war told us security of supply requires some redundancy in supplies. In other words, there would be some cost. But if we are smart to keep that to the level where we make the economy, the world economy, more resilient and not drag the world into a place where we will be all poorer and we would be less secure. My fear is that we are sleepwalking into this world. But hey, here is Davos. Wake up! Do the right thing.
At the same event, Saudi Arabia's foreign minister expressed that their position was correct amidst last year's row with the US over OPEC Plus's decision to reduce oil output targets.
Energy security is absolutely key, and here what we feel in the kingdom is that stability is absolutely the key to that energy security. So one of what we believe the successes of, for instance, OPEC and OPEC Plus has been able to deliver a relatively stable oil price, one that is predictable by both consumers and producers. Some other energy sources have faced significant challenges in that regard, significant rises, and we continue to be committed to that.
He also stated that as the world's top oil exporter, Saudi Arabia has a responsibility to provide stability to the oil market while transitioning to a clean energy future so that it does not hamper the progress of the developing world. Well, for more on this, we're joined by Chris Beauchamp, Chief Market Analyst at IG, joining us live from London. Chris, many thanks for your time this morning, and some stark words from the IMF there. Just give us your assessment on that.
Yeah, I think it reflects a lot of caution about the global economy, the fragmentation that you're seeing with the breakdown in not relations but sort of trade links to a number of major economies, and it's part of a theme I think that's been rolling around markets for at least a year now, that we should be due some kind of recession, we should be due a major economic hit. And I think this is partially a consequence of inflation, it's the hangover of the pandemic, it's the response to inflation by central banks, really. And all this combined together, I think, shows that the IMF is concerned that there is going to be a major tough period, if you like, for the global economy that will, in some ways, undo a lot of the economic growth we've seen over the past decade.
And Chris, we obviously heard from Saudi Arabia there, stating that in their view, stability is key when it comes to oil supply. But then, of course, we have these ambitions as a world to turn to a greener future. What did you make of those comments from Saudi Arabia?
Well, that's very interesting, because if you look at what Aramco is doing itself, it's actually expecting to be the last big oil major, if you like, pure oil company standing. So Saudi Arabia appears, if anything, to be determined to stay where it is, if you like, in terms of its position on oil, and make sure that it is the go-to destination for oil supplies, which, regardless of the shift to important shift, of course, to renewable energy, etc., it will remain an integral part of the global economy. You've seen this to an extent almost going into reverse with the energy crisis this year. I think the sense, partly with the lack of nuclear in Europe, but elsewhere, that countries still have to rely on oil and maintaining those supplies and maintaining stability. And the concerns about that have increased with those choke points that oil has to travel around. And of course, if US-China tensions ramp up, that could be something that sort of throw the spanner into the works of oil supplies too. Is something that needs to be carefully monitored, I think, really.
Chris Beauchamp, Chief Markets Analyst at IG, many thanks there for your insight.